Hey guys, we're going to watch The Secret Episode 11, aka the Band of Brothers We Stand Alone documentary. This is going to be unmonetized because I want to watch it in its entirety. I don't want to have to cut it up. I'm excited to watch it. I want to peel back the curtain a little bit, see more from these guys in Easy Company. Some of the guys, that really didn't give them a whole bunch of segments in the show. I hope they give them some more segments in the documentary. Like Garnier, he was only in a couple segments. I'd like to see some more of him in the documentary. So let's give this a shot. Let's give it a whirl, and let's watch We Stand Alone together.
Thanks.
Okay.
Welcome.
Hi.
Thanks for sitting down with us again. We appreciate it. Could you recount again for me the incident in which you were...
I'm going to cry. I know I'm going to cry.
Well, I was standing on the top of this hill at the aid station, and a random shell came in. It couldn't have gone off more than 5 or 10 feet away from me, because all I remember is a tremendous blast and a flash. And the next thing I knew, I was laying on the ground in the snow, and I tried to get up. And when I tried to get up, only thing I could see were the broken ends of my legs.
Ugh.
And I thought my legs were gone. Because that's all, the broken part, both femurs were shattered. And they were laying down here as I was in my back trying to raise my legs up. And I thought, I'm dead. You know, I'm about to die. And I said my act of contrition, because I'm a Catholic. And then the next thing I thought of was my mother.
They always do.
And I thought, what's she going to say? Because I was in...
Did you hear the frog in his throat? He went back there for just a second. 60, 50 years later, I don't know when this was recorded. The ability for your brain to take something that far back and put it right back in your vision for a split second it terrorizes a lot of people. And you could tell to this day, the idea of him passing away at that moment was very real in his heart. And I could tell that he still thinks about how he felt about his mother right now. It's really touching.
I said my act of contrition, because I'm a Catholic. And then the next thing I thought of was my mother. And I thought, what's she going to say? Because I was an only child.
In 1942, the U.S. Army assembled a volunteer parachute regiment to jump behind enemy lines. Within this unit was a company of men who found themselves at the forefront of the war in Europe. They parachuted into Normandy on D-Day. Fought for the liberation of Holland. Held the front line in the Battle of the Bulge. I got goosebumps, oh my goodness. And captured Hitler's Eagle's Nest. This company sustained one of the highest casualty rates of the war. These were the men of Easy Company, 506 Parachute Infantry Regiment, 101st Airborne Division. Screaming Eagles, baby. This is their story. We stand alone together, the men of Easy Company. How y'all like that? I'm gonna be a voice actor.
My name is
Lipton.
C. Carwood Lipton.
My brother.
I was born in Huntington, West Virginia. Grew up in Huntington.
Frederick
right.
T. Heiliger. Concord,
Moose.
Massachusetts was my hometown.
I was born in a town named Inchelium, Washington. It's on an Indian reservation up in northeastern Washington.
My name's J.B. Stokes. I was
Stokes.
born close to Bonham, Texas, in a rural area called Leonard. Born and raised in Columbus, Ohio. My father was worked for this railroad. My mother was a housewife.
My nickname was Babe. And my
Babe,
mother,
Heffron,
She's a little Irish broad, red hair, fiery,
Broad.
great woman. Great
Look at
woman.
Babe.
Born and raised in South Philadelphia,
Hey, Garnier.
where the times were tough. Mom had 10 children, so
Damn.
you had to work to survive.
Hell yeah.
That's what it was. It's just
Look
survival.
at, he's got the badges on the bolo tie. I'm not a huge bolo tie guy, but that is clean. I like that.
In the streets of Philadelphia, that's all.
It was a real struggle because we came up in the Depression. Sometimes we live on a farm and have pigs and chickens and raise a garden.
I saw people that really were hungry and had hard times. My father was able to find some kind of employment. We never went hungry.
We lived on a farm at the time. It was poor. Everybody was poor. That was the Depression.
When I got to about 10, I got a paper route. You know, that $5
Paper
a
route.
month I made, something like that, you know. But
Old
it was
times.
at least something.
There's a work ethic that the
Sounds like winners.
Pennsylvania Dutch in this particular area are very proud of.
I was the oldest one, so I sort of branched out on my own at an early age.
I was married when I was 19 years old in 1941.
On December 7th of 41, we were in a store and a guy, he says, the USA is in a war with Japan. And everything just went
I
silent.
remember that from episode 1, that clip.
I said, let's go in the Army.
Popeye!
Hell, I don't want to go in no Army. I said, well, you're going to have to go sooner or later.
Something was wrong with you if you weren't in the service in those days. It was just what you had to do.
I wasn't going to be in the infantry, I knew that. I was going to be in some top kind of a unit, or I wasn't going to be in the Army.
He was in the infantry, just the special infantry. That's the Life magazine cover.
Has run
Yeah,
an article on paratroopers
I've read that article.
sometime in early 1942, and it told about the training that they got and the difficult physical requirements. And I just got interested in seeing if I couldn't become a paratrooper.
Nobody forced you to do this.
It's got the guide on in the back.
Volunteered. And it was the notion that you wanted to do something, you wanted to be with the best.
But once you got in there, you was proud to be. We was proud of our boots. We was proud of our shoulder patch. And we was proud to be paratroopers.
Hot take, tanker boots over parachute boots. Fight me.
And we was proud to be working with the guys we were working with.
You know these people that you're in service with.
Shifty.
You know those people better than you will ever know anybody in your life. I mean, you know them right down to the final thing, you know. And that comes when you start your training, while that progresses.
Oh, old school. This is my stuff right here. Yes, sir. War Department film bulletins. I love these.
Each man was like a heavyweight champion of world boxer.
Out of 100%, only 10% made
I
it.
thought I was going to die.
There wasn't no holding back.
You had to hang in
All
there.
the
You had to be tough.
towers.
We marched 118 miles in 3 days.
The training I got, and the
Airborne
men I
shuffle.
trained with, gave me the confidence to go into battle.
These are some new guys. Easy Company was formed in July 1942 at Camp Toccoa, Georgia.
Ordinary kids when we went in, most of us. And a lot of the training was to build you up physically and mentally.
Some of them lost as much as 40 pounds.
I lost
But I
about
didn't
30
have
in
nothing
basic.
to lose. I weighed about 130.
Yeah.
If I'd have lost 40 pounds, I wouldn't have been big enough to stay.
You know, they weeded out
Fuck.
so many. They'd be there one day and they'd.
That's
be
not
gone the
Compton, though.
next.
Different
They
buck.
couldn't keep up with them. You understand? They were good men, but they couldn't take that hard training. Well, he had the cream of the cream, the cream.
The cream of the cream.
Had to climb this mountain called Currahee every morning, run it up and back. If you
No
couldn't do
shirts
it,
on
well,
is
you'd
crazy,
end
though.
up in another unit.
The Ranger panties.
Currahee, as I understand it, means we stand alone together. That's an Indian name. It became a symbol of the camp.
Is that
because
Colonel
It
Strayer?
was really rough and tough going up and down.
A lot of times, especially on a Monday, when some of the guys would get out somewhere and get them a little drink or so, you'd see them laying beside the road, you know, going up and coming back, you know.
Let me
where
make sure that that was Colonel Strayer, because I thought the guy that Winters replaced he was a Major Horton. Okay, Horton didn't make it. Strayer did. My mind's like a steel trap, baby.
Of the camp, because it was really rough and tough going up and down.
A lot of times, especially on a Monday, when some of the guys would get out somewhere and get them a little drink or so, you'd see them laying beside the road, you know, going up and coming back, you know, where they're sick.
And it didn't matter how hard they trained you and how tired you got.
Kept going.
You would still go out on your own and run the mountain at night, which was ridiculous because when you had to run it during the day, all you did was bitch and moan.
There's nothing else to do back then.
At night, you'd get a couple of guys and go up and do it on your own.
We learned how to be soldiers at Toccoa as a group, all of us coming in from no experience in the Army at all, coming in directly from civilian life.
I'm going to say this. I believe that the paratroopers of the 101st Airborne Division was as well trained as you could get a soldier to be at that time.
I'd be hard pressed to find another unit.
We packed our own chutes
like
for the
that.
first jump.
Nervous as hell.
Package shoots is crazy. That does not happen at Modern Airborne School. There are parachute riggers. That's a specific MOS that does that. The fact that they, one, had to get a class to pack their chutes, and then you went up with the chute you packed, that's some risky business, boy. And I guess the Army decided to do away with that risk because you don't pack your own chutes anymore.
We packed our own chutes for the first jump.
Nervous as hell getting on a plane.
You're asking yourself, what the hell am I doing here?
It came time to stand up and hook up, and we did.
Coming down is great.
It affects everybody different.
Not like a bird flying in the air.
Broke my foot on the first one.
You're dropping 16 feet a second.
I can remember just like it was yesterday. That morning after breakfast, they marched us all out there to the airfield. There was a bunch of guys out there that already made their jump, and they was all hollering, "You're gonna be sorry," you know.
You didn't want to be afraid, you know.
Maynard.
Because all these other guys are right there with you, and some, you know, your bravado and all that. But you didn't want to be afraid, so you kept that out of your mind.
I don't know how to, and this is not coming from a place of righteousness or, you know, looking down on anyone else for not joining, but it is cool to be able to see this footage of, I'm pretty sure every single one of these guys has passed, and know that I'm part of the same branch that these guys were in. And it honestly makes me feel honored to be able to share a name tape, share a flag on my shoulder, to share that camaraderie throughout the years, throughout the ages. I never met these guys, but they signed the same dotted line that I did. And it kind of makes me feel more solid in my decision. And maybe it'll make some people feel solid in theirs if they're pondering it. Once you're in the club, these are your battle buddies. These are your companions. So these are who you would have been fighting side by side with if you joined in the 40s. And it's really cool to look at it from the brotherhood perspective. The Band of Brothers concept transcends a unit. It transcends a battalion, a brigade, a division, a corps. That's Army wide. We are all supposed to be a band of brothers and sisters. And this just reinforces that to me.
Because all these other guys are right there with you, and some, you know, your bravado and all that. But you didn't want to be afraid, so you kept that out of your mind.
You know, in those days, jumping out of an airplane is not like today. My first flight up, I jumped. I was years before I ever landed in an aircraft. And most of the fellow troopers was the same story.
Well, foolishly, I didn't think it'd be so tough, but the first jump you make is not all that bad. You don't know what you're doing. It seems like when you step out the door, why, your chute just opened right then.
As I went out the door, I was blank. I cannot remember leaving the plane until after the chute opened up. My God. But after that, it wasn't as bad.
So how they this is more for pilots, but it's relevant in parachute school too. Going up is optional. You can get grounded for weather, mechanical reasons. etc., etc. Landing is mandatory. All right. So you got to get on the ground out of the aircraft. You might as well get out of it earning your parachute wings than being a jump refusal and catastrophically making the mission come to a screeching halt. Taking off is optional. Landing is required. No matter what you're flying, helicopter, cargo plane, fighter jet, you got to land, be it on your terms or someone else's. Might as well do it earning some wings.
It was quite a thrill. It was just like going on a roller coaster. You get off and you want to go right back on again. Yeah.
It was a thrill. It was a high, as they say these days.
The pickle.
Everybody just seemed to enjoy themselves. They went out. The landing was the hardest part.
Yeah, the landings can mess you up.
I was happy as a lark. You know, coming down is great. I was small, too, and I didn't hurt myself when I hit the ground. Some of the big ones hit the ground like a ton of, what's his name?
Touching
The thing
bricks.
you're worried about most was your chute. Did you pack it right? And you'd go through that, you'd pack it one day and jump the next day. You had all night to think about it. You had all kinds of ideas of what you might have done wrong, but it worked out fine.
You'd be all right.
We made 5 jumps in the 3rd week there, and then you were a qualified paratrooper. Got your wings pinned on, and became one of the elite members of the parachute regiment.
We were thoroughly prepared. The men were trained, hardened, physically and mentally, and they were ready to jump. Thus, we started off for Normandy.
September 3rd, 1943, after 15 months of training, Easy Company boarded the transport ship Samaria, bound for England.
When you walk up that gangplank, you know you're gone. As you pull out of harbor and you pass the Statue of Liberty, will I ever be coming back? I don't know.
The Atlantic crossing lasted 12 days. Preparations for the Allied invasion continued for another 8 months.
You know you're in the parachute troops. You're going to be jumping behind the enemy lines. What do you expect? You have no idea. That'll make anybody stand and search his soul for a few minutes.
Spring 1944 in Aldburn, England.
We were ready. We were ready.
Moose.
We were stationed in England for about a year before D-Day. We had a lot of maneuvers and parachute jumping.
They put us in a camp preparing us for D-Day. In other words, just about a week before D-Day, they put us in
buses.
No liberties, no nothing. You couldn't get out of the camp.
They had guards around the marshalling area, so nobody could leave. That's when you felt that this is it. We did not know which day. We did not know where we were going to jump until we were locked in.
Mm-hmm.
Then they had debriefing to tell you exactly what your mission was.
And they took this map and they made a scale model of the features of the land. They put in all the little buildings, all the bridges.
So we still do that today. They're called terrain models, and I've seen them go up as high as division, where you can make them on the ground, you can make them on a table, but you'll go over the maps and make a 3D replica of this hill's here, these buildings are here. You got little toy tanks that you'll array where enemy tank formations might be. You'll have little infantry markers where infantry might be. So you can start trying to do that translation of 2D to 3D, because looking at a map top down is different once you're rolling through it. It's different once you're flying over it. You got to start putting landmarks to 3-directional points in your head. That's why when Winters, all he needed was one road sign, and then he knows this building's over here, this building's over here, we got to go this way, because he studied the maps, he studied the sand tables. So that's what they're doing here, making terrain models, make sure everyone knows the terrain model, so if their jump zone is off, like a lot of them were, We know if I see this cluster of 3 buildings, I'm in grid square, blah, blah, blah. I got to get to this grid square. If you're ever in an op board with a sand table or a terrain model, make sure you study it.
What your mission was.
And they took this map and they made a scale model of the features of the land. They put in all the little buildings, all the bridges, all the little knolls, all the sand dunes. Everything was in on that layout.
Mm-hmm.
We knew it by heart. We knew exactly where we were going to go. Knew exactly what to do.
Till the flex starts.
You could have been there at the time to see where the planes were
Look at
lined
'em.
up and all the gliders hooked up to the planes.
Tanks and trucks and fields and fields and fields of them.
That's awesome, man.
I had no idea that there was that much hardware. So there's no question about it. We knew it was going to be big.
And that day that, we got the orders to get in the planes, this is it.
Look how happy they were, man. Time to do your job. Spend 2.5 years training, and this is the first day you do your job.
We had confidence in our leaders and all the plans and preparations that had taken place before the invasion. So
Let me try to explain that. Ideally, a soldier never has to do his job. If you are an infantryman, your job is to close with and destroy the enemy on foot. We want peace. Ideally, an infantryman never has to do his job. But while you don't do your job, you are training in case your country needs you to do your job, is what I'm trying to get at by that. So these guys have been training 2.5 years, 3 years. And now the first day of, all right, big boy pants are on. We're going live, ready to rock and roll. Ideally, if any of y'all join the military, as fun as it sounds, you don't want to actually have to be put in a scenario where this is required of you. But make sure you stay up on your training, because you never know when your country's going to need you to do your job. And you want to be sure you're properly trained, you're properly motivated, and you are confident in your compatriots as well, because nothing will destroy a team faster than one guy not knowing what he's doing. Make sure that's not you, and if that's your buddy, fix him. Let's go.
we had confidence in our leaders and all the plans and preparations that had taken place before. We were
sorry, y'all. My twin girls are turning 2 and we're planning their birthday party. Sorry.
And all the plans and preparations that had taken place before the invasion. So we were confident and calm.
Trust your training. That's all you can do. You ain't gonna learn anything new on the fly over, I promise. What you got is what you got. Nowadays, you carry a lot more gear than that when you jump.
We were all loaded down to the gills. We carried everything that we thought we could carry in the line of personal items, plus the necessary things we were assigned to carry, and we were loaded.
So yeah, if you this looks heavy, right? I think I saw it was between 70 and 100 pounds a parachuter would jump with back in the day. A modern paratrooper, looking at more like 100 to 150, maybe 180 if they're a 240 guy or if they got some special equipment. Anyone currently on jump status, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, or feel free to put in the actual numbers. I'm not in a parachute unit. I haven't talked to my airborne boys in a while. This is going off probably 2-year-old information. So let me know if the jump gear has changed. I'm pretty sure our modern chutes can hold up to 400 pounds, like 400 to 500 pounds. So it can handle the load, but you're still dropping like a rock.
Everybody got in there, and a lot of them were very scared. I was scared too, but probably in a different way that other people were. As long as I was in that plane and They were going to get me there safely out of that plane. That's all that I worried about.
Yep, just get me over the DZ, I'll do the rest. June 6th, the day of days, D-Day.
At the time, I had no feeling whatsoever. Like I said, my feelings was for my brother who was killed.
Oh yeah, Montecasino.
At that time.
13,400 American
That
paratroopers
infuriated me,
spearheaded the Allied invasion.
And that's when I jumped on D-Day, I swore I was going to kill every damn German I came across. And that's why I think they nicknamed me Wild Bill, because I did a lot of killing D-Day.
I could lie in the door, at the door of the plane with my head out in the slipstream looking down.
Be trying to sleep up there,
and
man.
I saw the thousands of craft, ships, everything from LCIs to battleships down there in the channel. And I think that's when I first realized
Real
how
deal.
large the invasion was.
Yep.
Tremendously large.
In case y'all aren't watching the Pacific, if you want to piss a Marine off, as you all know, the Marines are the amphibious fighting force, part of the Department of the Navy. Except the largest amphibious invasion in the history of humanity was done by the Army. So who's really better at amphibious assaults, the Marines or the Army? We'll let history judge.
Invasion was down there in the channel, and I think that's when I first realized how large the invasion was. Tremendously large the invasion was.
We rode for about an hour and a half, I guess, before we went down off the south end of England and then across the Jersey Islands and then across the Cherbourg Peninsula. And that's when the fireworks started.
Black was terrible. Any aircraft was absolutely horrendous. It was like a July the 4th celebration 10 times over.
Except you're in the
Then
fireworks.
It would hit under the wings and body, and you could hear it going brrr, like gravel hitting on the fender of a car.
You could see tracers all over the place. That's why everybody wanted to get out of the plane.
Which means modern days, it's like, I think it's 4-to-1 tracer. So every fifth bullet's a tracer. So the ones you're seeing are just every fifth bullet. There's 4 more behind it in front of that tracer.
Best as they could.
Whether it was high, low, no matter where we were at, out. They wanted out of the plane. They were getting shot up.
But finally, the pilots, I'm just happened to read their minds.
Sergeant Martin.
Okay, we got so much gas, and we're going to have to get back to England. So what are we going to do with all these guys back here? Give them the green light sometime.
Dump
Get
'em.
out. We're standing there ready to jump.
There was a certain relief, I think, when the
Lots of
green
bucks.
light came on and everybody said, let's go.
Man, I jumped up on the run and
There's Buck Compton.
hit the static line with the hook and out the door, you know, and got such an opening blast from the opening shock from the prop blast that it broke this chin strap that we had on this helmet liner, and that's when I lost this famous leg bag that everybody talks about just from the shock of the opening. It just flew right off my foot.
The British come up with this. They call them leg bags. They got to be this big, and you keep stuffing everything you can get your hands on in them. It's supposed to weigh 10, 15 pounds. By the time you get done, it's 40 or 50 or 60 pounds. Everyone that jumped with a leg bag or supplies, they lost it. Most of the paratroopers that landed didn't have nothing.
See, that would be a good idea if it worked right. Those leg bags are like communism. It's great on paper, but when you actually put it into implementation, whoop, screwed.
I was one of them. It tore right off because we jumped at speeds of 150 miles an hour, maybe even higher, I don't know.
And lower than we should have been. But that wasn't bad either because you got to the ground
Get
quicker.
shot less.
When it went out the door, opened I looked to see if my parachute was open, you could see tracer bullets burning holes through the parachute.
And they told us that all you'll have to do is shuffle up to the...
Don't know where I heard this, but if you ever find yourself jumping out of a plane with a parachute over an enemy country that doesn't respect the Geneva Convention, and you want to fall faster, pull out your pistol and shoot a couple holes in your parachute. It won't kill you, but it'll make you fall just that much faster so you're not getting shot at.
Parachute.
And they told us that all you'll have to do is shuffle up to the door, throw that leg out, prop blast will hit it, and you're gone. Well, they were right. Only I was gone out and my leg was in. And I was hanging upside down, looking at everything down with my leg in the plane and everything. And all
That
this
would
happened in just a
suck.
split second. And Paul rolled me
Getting
out.
drugged.
Paul just rolled me out.
I just helped him out. I just picked him up, threw him out, I guess. Had to get out. We just wanted to get out so bad.
And I come down right behind City Hall, watched them shoot at me all the way, which wasn't very long.
And I could see the tracers, and they were kind of spraying around in the air. Whoever the machine gunner was down there that was
He about to talk shit?
concentrating on me apparently was not a very good shot.
Bro's roasting his ass 60 years later. Hey, those Germans suck.
Concentrating on me apparently was not a very good shot.
But they were firing in every direction. Even front of you, back of you, you don't know which way to go.
The next thing is that you are getting close to landing and you're saying, there's some trees, there's a road.
Yep.
Try and slip
Putting the map.
to avoid the trees, trying to slip to avoid landing on the road.
And I slipped a little bit, and my chute fell across the power lines. And
If you're not a parachute guy, slip is pulling on the risers to kind of change your direction. You don't want to land on a road. The hard top will break your legs. You don't want to land on a building because you'll either get strung up on the chimney or something, or you'll crash to the ceiling and break your legs. You want the nice, softest patch of freshly manicured grass you could find.
Try and slip to avoid the trees, trying to slip to avoid landing on the road.
And I slipped a little bit, and my chute fell across the power lines, and I hit that fence and fell into a farmer's garden. And that fence had, I'll never will forget it, it had glass in the top of it and cut me up.
Damn.
And everything, but that didn't bother me. I was down, and I got down with my gun.
You'd rather be down, cut up, than up shot.
And we were way, got looking at my map, and we wasn't anywhere close to where we were supposed to be.
Damn.
We didn't know where we were. We was plumb off our maps that they'd give us. So we had to make our way back. We knew that the beach was to the east of where we were. So we headed that way to get down to the beach to find out where the outfit was.
My friend from Erie was in another plane. When I hit the ground, I hit about 2 feet away from him.
Crazy.
And him and I start walking around looking for more of our troops.
I saw an interview. It was, I'll have to see if I could find it. A guy in World War II, I think he was heading to the Battle of the Bulge. His brother was coming back from the Battle of the Bulge, and they just happened to like hop off the truck to take a piss and was like, is that my brother? And they let him go talk for like a day.
Friend from Erie was in another plane. When I hit the ground, I hit about 2 feet away from him. And him and I start walking around looking for more of our troops. And we were running into Germans everywhere, but we had to hide, you know, because if we didn't, we were dead meat.
And I lit in a tree. I had my trench knife, and I reached up and grabbed a hold of it's a big trunk, the tree. I swung into it. I cut those risers with, I think, one swipe.
Mm-hmm.
And I come down that tree like a monkey.
And there I was with a trench knife and a canteen and about 6 candy bars.
That's all you need, baby.
Ready to fight the
whole German army.
You know.
So there's 4 guys that were with me on D-Day who did have nothing but a jump knife when they landed. So we had a hope scrounge As it worked out for all of us, later on we run across somebody who had been killed, and you take his weapon, and that's how you get a weapon for D-Day, rather haphazard.
We were scattered all over the peninsula practically, so it was quite a confused situation, but we were better prepared for it than the Germans were. The Germans didn't know where we were.
Whereas on the beach, those people coming in on those boats.
Yeah, you know
those
where they're
Germans had
coming in
those
from.
big guns aimed right at them, you know, and just waiting on them. Oh, they had it tough. They had it tough. I admire every one of them.
That the land invasion would have failed if not for the airborne troops jumping behind the Germans the night before. Every single one of those Higgins boats would have been shot up. Land invasion would have been pushed off entirely, if not for the airborne forces. So D-Day was bad. It would have been absolutely way worse if these guys didn't do what they did.
Where the Germans didn't know where we were.
Whereas on the beach, those people coming in on those boats, those Germans had those big guns aimed right at them, you know, and just waiting on them. Oh, they had it tough. They had it tough. I admire every one of them.
Damn, big 88. Oh, we going back? Let's
These
go.
guns were pointed and firing right down on the beach. And the people out of the landing craft were trying to come onto the beach, and they were firing right down on them.
I don't think I'd be able to go down on the beach if I went and saw it. 3 miles from Utah Beach, 4 105mm cannons fired from a camouflage position.
This battery of
at
105
Brecourt Manor
was placed precisely where it should be to protect that causeway, any troops coming up the causeway.
Sam Marie Dumont.
As you sit back years later on and look at it, you think, oh, this was laid out exactly right, tactically.
The guns were hidden on a farm called Brecourt Manor. I remember. Your ass.
We thought we knew where every foxhole was in Normandy. We knew where everything was. We knew it cold. But on this one, the Germans had moved in there and camouflaged us so well, we didn't know it was there.
The position was controlled by a platoon of 50 Germans. Easy Company received orders to take the guns with a squad of 12 men.
E Company was the assault company of the battalion. And we were been trained from special assaults and whatnot, special assignments. And we were been trained from special assaults and whatnot, special assignments. But they weren't aware of what we had. They didn't realize we only had 12 people. So we worked our way down through the farm area to a hedgerow, and Lieutenant Winters had us set up a firing position.
And went up to scout it for myself.
If y'all remember, this is what we used to break down the fundamentals of the offense: surprise, concentration, audacity, tempo, and also the fundamentals of a breach: suppress, obscure, secure, reduce, assault. You see, remember when what was his name? When Lipton and them, they started opening up, dude climbed up in the tree. That was your surprise. Concentrated on that one point. No one expect tree soldiers, and they kept up the fire. That allowed Buck and the gang to get over there. They suppressed the enemy. They obscured their movement with the hedgerows. They secured that entry point, reduced the Germans and the MG-42s in front of it, and assaulted through the position of the first gun. Textbook, textbook, textbook.
Farm area to a hedgerow, and Lieutenant Winters had us set up a firing position.
And went up to scout it for myself, crawled out along this hedgerow to get a little closer to look it over, and I felt I could see a trench, and I thought I knew where our machine gun was.
Another thing. I know a lot of people, you only get your view of trenches from like Battlefield 1 or World War I and World War II movies. If there is a trench dug, you would be advised to occupy that trench. It was dug for a reason, because being outside of the trench is usually deadly. So if you come upon an enemy position, you want to get in that trench, fight for that trench, and take that trench. Because if you remember, when Spears and Dog Company came up, they were running outside the trenches. Half those dudes got wiped. They ended up finally taking the gun, but it would have been way easier if they kept their heads down and ran along the trench, clearing it as they went. So just a rule of thumb, if there's a trench dug, you probably want to be in it. They dug them for a reason.
Closer to look it over, and I felt I could see a trench, and I thought I knew where our machine gun was.
Winters was an exceptional leader, and he was able to size up all through the war, size up combat situations, and decide quickly and correctly the best way to take care of whatever the problem was.
I divided the group into 2 units. Lieutenant Compton was with me. I gave him half the men, and I took half the men. Gave instructions. I want Compton, Malarkey, and Wynn to crawl up there and hand grenade that machine gun. Crawl through the grass. And as you throw your grenades, I'll charge up with the rest of the guys.
There you go.
So I had the 2 machine guns set up to give him covering fire while he crawled up there.
I get out to this hedgerow, and I look up and I peek through the bushes, and I see a couple of Germans over here about 30, 50 yards away, stoking this gun and firing it. And so I pull out a hand grenade and I pull the pin on it and I threw it as high and
secure,
as far as I could throw
which
it
reduces
in their general direction. The damn thing had enough hang time on it that about the time it got to them, it went off in the air, and I got one of them.
Then I jumped
that
up
assault
with a couple
through
of
Sosra,
guys
baby.
Charged so that we all jumped into the first position together.
They had trenches cut in there where they worked, the Germans did, and they jumped down in them trenches and they worked them Germans like a dose of salt.
3 Germans broke off from this position.
Pick them off.
To
Bang,
run
bang, bang.
across the field, which was the wrong thing to do from their viewpoint. We cut them down.
Yep.
I was in a trench and I looked and I saw an arm. I didn't even see. The man was in a camouflage tent and I didn't even see him. And then I saw an arm stuck over that tent and one of those potato masher grenades, with a stick, come over there and I said, well, he's gonna miss me. And that thing fell right down in that trench with me. And I was trying to scuttle my way out of the way of it and went off. And I felt like it blowed my butt over my head. And pretty near did.
Your ass. Your ass.
He's behind the enemy lines on D-Day.
Oh, this makes me
Does
cry.
he holler help? No.
I'm sorry.
He hollers, I'm sorry, Lieutenant.
Dude. That speaks for itself. I don't need to comment on that. He wasn't crying for his mama. He wasn't trying to get evacuated. I'm sorry. I wish I could do more. Truly one of the finest generations humanity has ever reared. Absolutely.
Butt over my head. And pretty near did.
He's behind the enemy lines on D-Day. Does he holler help? No. He hollers, I'm sorry, Lieutenant. I'm sorry. I goofed.
I felt like I kind of let him down, but, that's neither here nor there.
My God.
Honor.
It's beautiful.
It
When
is.
you think of a guy who is that dedicated to his company, to his buddies.
You have a whole entire company of Popeyes, you beat damn near any other army in the world, guaranteed. 100%. That's why I encourage, if anyone joins the military, don't join unless you're bought in. Because the moment you cash out, you're not an asset anymore. You're a casualty walking.
When you think of a guy who is that dedicated to his company, to his buddies, that he apologizes for getting hit. But that's the kind of guy he was, and that's the kind each one of them was. They were all the same.
Easy Company captured and destroyed the guns at Breakcourt Manor, saving countless lives on Utah Beach.
Each man with great respect. Respect I can't describe.
Look at that knife.
Each one of them proved himself that he could do the job.
Winters was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross, and the other men received silver and bronze stars.
Through Normandy. We've been through battle. And maybe if I had been harder, if I had done a little bit better job, there would have been a couple more men going home.
That's the cost of leadership, man. After 33 days in Normandy, Easy Company returned to Aldbourne with 74 officers and men. They had jumped with 139.
I never thought I'd get through D-Day, let alone the next phase or the next phase. I thought I was going to get killed instantly.
Easy Company had 3 months to recover and regroup before their next mission.
Extremely thin. As the parachute, we got that done in Edinburgh, Scotland, 1944. Me and Johnny Martin.
Vinny Speranza. Go watch Vincent Speranza. His stories. He was also he was also a paratrooper. He was in the Battle of the Bulge. Go watch Vincent Speranza's stories about what he did in Scotland with these guys. They got tattoos. They found ways to get bottles. They bought cars in Scotland. A tattoo is tame compared to some of the things our boys got up to over there in Scotland.
Drunk as a skunk.
Drunk as a skunk.
Well, Garnier and I decided we'd go to Scotland and get a tattoo. We didn't figure we had a chance to come home.
We do the same thing, man.
Yeah, but we thought, well, hell, the war's just starting. And Christ, we're 50% not gone now, so it's a long haul.
You see, and I urge everyone to, if you come across someone dealing with PTSD, recognize that not everyone gets triggered by 4th of July fireworks going off. It doesn't have to be an explosion or an unexpected gunshot. You just saw he was triggered by a tattoo. He went right back to how he felt. Half of his company just died in the jump on D-Day just by talking about a tattoo. You never know what someone's trigger is going to be to send them right back there. And he barely held it together. I admire this man for talking about his struggles, but just be open-minded as you talk to veterans. It doesn't even have to be veterans. Anyone with PTSD in general. You never know what's going to cause them to go to the dark place. And so you got to be there to pull them back to the bright place.
Not gone now, so it's a long haul.
Replacements were assigned to Easy Company to restore the ranks.
The 101st came back from Normandy after about 33 days, and we were the replacements for the people who were killed in action or wounded in the Normandy mission.
There were young kids that came in, and for some reason, I don't know why, they were the first ones killed.
Green.
And I think maybe they were trying to impress the older guys, maybe people like me or Shifty.
We were in awe of them. They were wearing infantry badges, you know, the uniform. They had a star on their jump wings. They were like heroes to us, you know. That's how we looked at them.
I don't know why, but I got right there to where I didn't want to be friendly with replacements coming in because, God, I didn't like seeing them get killed. It just tore me up. And I don't know why, but they were the first ones killed.
My 10-man squad that I was in, 8 were replacements, and the squad leader and the assistant squad leader, Sergeant Muck and Corporal Pinkella. Well, they'd been to Normandy. We had not.
And then they got hit later.
Us hadn't been anywhere but Auburn, you see. So, and then the training got really tough between there and the Holland jump. It was training.
See, the sheer scale of World War II. When he got there as a replacement after D-Day, the only two guys left from that 10-man squad, Muck and Pencala, and then they caught an artillery shell at the Bulge. That whole 10-man squad had a 100% turnover. That's insane.
Or 8 of us hadn't been anywhere but Auburn, you see, so. And then the training got really tough between there and the Holland jump. It was training. And we had a couple of missions scratched. We were supposed to jump on a French city of Tournai. And it got to the sand table part where we all gathered around to see which bridges we were going to do, who was going to do what. And General Patton's troops overran the drop zone.
Hell yeah, they did.
So that one was called off. And we were wondering if we were ever going to get to go. And then, of course, it got to be September.
Market Garden. All in September 17, 1944. Operation Market Garden.
It was a
Bridge
Sunday
too
afternoon,
far.
noontime, 70 degrees.
The drop
Perfect.
was perfect.
Perfect. Yep.
It was a mass drop. Everybody was dropping on the same field.
Daytime drop's a lot easier. You can see where you're going. You can sort of prepare for the landing.
I saw a plowed field, and I slipped right over it, and I believe I almost landed standing up. It was
Yeah.
soft. A great jump.
A plowed field is
The most
perfect.
dangerous part about it was the fact that people are continually losing helmets and equipment, and all this equipment's raining down. And if you get hit with this, you're going to be killed or wounded before you get off the drop zone.
Everybody got together. We all assembled very fast.
We moved out towards the Wilhelmina Canal. Our mission was first to take a bridge over the Wilhelmina Canal.
It took us hours to get there. And taking hours to get there, the few German troops that were to secure this bridge had plenty of time to set their charges to blow the thing up.
And just as we got to it, I was maybe 150 yards away, it blew up in our faces.
Damn.
These rocks and timbers were flying, and they're falling all around you, and you can't help but think to yourself, my God, what a way to die in combat, to be killed with a flying timber. That we were that close.
It delayed us until the next morning. We wanted to get across that night, but it took us till the next morning to get across. But once we got in, the Dutch, it was just marvelous. Their reaction. They loved Americans and still do.
Shout out to my
coming
homies in the
there,
Netherlands.
pushing the Germans out.
After 4 years of German occupation, Allied
called
forces
Angels from
liberate the
sky,
Dutch.
Which we were. I mean, you're under German occupation for 4 years, right? It's horrible when you see paratroopers come out of the sky on Sunday morning.
Angels.
Who are they? They're your angels.
Yep.
They love you.
Their welcome was unbelievable. They couldn't restrain how happy they were to see you.
And it was hard to even get down the streets because the people were out there swarming all over us trying to congratulate us for being there.
You think
and
I'm
all that.
thankful?
And they hugged you and kissed you, and we didn't mind. You know, naturally, we was young. We didn't mind at all.
And they were really proud to see us. And to the point where it was dangerous for us.
Yeah.
Trying to clean out the town because snipers did some damage.
Remember, they pulled their pins up to hide their ranks. If you didn't watch, what's it called? If you didn't watch my Saving Private Ryan review, there's a reason we do not salute in the field and why they were turning their collars up when they got to Eindhoven. Snipers will take out leadership. And if you cut the head off the snake, it's hard for the snake to get another head screwed on there. So you don't salute in the field. You don't go to attention in the field because then that just tells the sniper, let me kill that guy. And all these other chickens are going to run around with their heads cut off. And you could tell they were nervous about it. Nix and Winters, they were folding up their collars to hide their officers' bars, their little lieutenant bars. Absolutely a real threat.
Because snipers did some damage in a situation like that.
Battling from village to village along Hell's Highway, Easy Company crossed Holland to the Rhine
We
River.
had a lot of fighting in that area because we're sitting right on the Rhine River and Germany's right across the river, you know.
That's the
They're
border.
fighting like heck to keep us out of Germany.
It's called the island. We call it the island. And we set up positions there. Had some substantial battles there.
They could observe any movement we made during the daytime. And at their will, they could shell us, put mortar fire on us when they had a target of opportunity.
I heard something coming down. I knew what it was, a mortar shell, and I threw my arm up like that and went down. It lit within 3 feet of me or 4, but it lets, when it blows, it goes up like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it went through my arm and hit me in the head, and I was bleeding pretty.
That'll
pretty
stop
good.
it a lot, though.
Well, I was picked to go up on a dike. So of course, when you get to the top, you don't expose yourself.
You don't want a
I
silhouette.
took my rifle and put my helmet on it and put it over.
Time old trick.
Even with the road on a dike, and no action, so I brought it back down, put the helmet on, and I sort of peeked over. When I peeked over, I see a hand there with a potato masher.
Oh, shit.
And he threw it at me.
Throw it back.
I ducked down, it hit my helmet and bounced off. So when that thing bounced off my helmet, I hollered out to the guys below, live grenade.
If Lesniewski hadn't hollered live grenade, and I had enough sense to know that that's that grenade that hit my rifle and is laying right in front of me, in my face.
Holy
practically.
dang.
I know I'd have either had my head blown off or I would have definitely been blind. There's no question about that, not any question.
Instinct.
Because I just got turned just part way and it exploded, and then it caught me in the face, neck, left arm, under the arm, in the shoulder blade.
I hollered for them to, take off. I said, get the hell going back. And I had 8 grenades, so I started taking them off, pulling the pins and throwing them over.
Throw all of them.
And while the grenades are rolling down or landing wherever they were hitting some of the crowds.
There you
and
go.
I could hear screaming, hollering, crying, and I think I threw the 8 grenades in about 4 seconds. And then I took off running.
So that is absolutely a tactic still used. You can overwhelm the enemy just by volume. You've all played Call of Duty. You could pick up grenades and throw them back. Pick up 8 grenades and throw them back in a 5-second fuse. It's not happening. If that dude had 8 grenades on him, you could pull 2 pins at a time, toss the spoons, get him over the dike. I totally believe he threw 8 grenades in 4 seconds, especially if he's covering for his guys who just got wounded. 100% accurate, 100% still done to this day.
Crowds, because I could hear screaming, hollering, crying, and I think I threw the 8 grenades in about 4 seconds. And then I took off running.
So the doctor that counted the holes in me down at Nijmegen, the first doctor that really counted the holes, said there was 32.
Damn! Off
That
of
was
one
our
grenade.
first experience with artillery in large numbers. And I can remember sitting there at night, a couple of nights, listening to the artillery land.
Wham! And the 88 was the fiercest cannon or gun that the Germans had. And it was the way they used it. It was an all-purpose gun. It could
Direct
shoot
fire.
anti-aircraft, tanks, anti-personnel,
Artillery.
airburst, and that was the bad ones when the shell went up over your head.
All the shrapnel comes
I
down.
saw a huge mushroom cloud from the shell, and Joe Toy stepped out of it.
Oh.
And I run up. I remember that like it was just. I run up and I grabbed him, and he said, "Oh, don't touch me." I said, "Joe, what's my?" He said, "I'm hit all over." He said, I'm bad." I said, "Okay." I said, "I'm going to go see Jim." He said, as bad as he was hurting, Joe Toy, he said, "Heffron, I already checked him. He's gone."
Tell you, he went right back. 9 men of Easy lost their lives in Holland.
Jim Campbell might be alive today. If he hadn't have said to me, Efren, you stay here with your gun. I'm going up. And I never, I sleep on it, I eat on it, I never forgot that. And anybody that went through it, I'm going to tell you the same thing. They can't die. It's just so bad all your life. You got to remember what one guy did because he thought it was his job to do, and he took a shot for you.
Got to make the sacrifice worth it. By the end of the Holland campaign, Easy had been on the front line for more than 70 days.
Exhaustion on these men, the physical exhaustion.
I almost lost it there for a second.
affects their endurance to be able to cope. You don't realize it at the time you come off the line from living in the mud and being absolutely miserable for 70 days straight. You didn't realize at that point that you're only going to be off the line for a few days and you're going to be facing Bastogne.
Yeah, looking back, you have no idea. Bastogne, Battle of the Bulge.
This is the last desperate action of the Germans to turn the tide of this whole war.
Damn near almost worked, too. You can thank the tankers for helping out. On December 16, 1944, Hitler launched a massive offensive into the Ardennes woods of Belgium, and he achieved complete surprise. The Battle of the Bulge had become the largest engagement in the history of the United States Army. $600,000 American soldiers would fight in the battle.
But it is.
Oh, they went back?
It is. This is Bojack's Woods.
They
right?
could probably find their foxholes.
It is the woods. Sure looks different now. There ain't no snow.
Woods of Foy. They're right outside the town.
Look how I think if the trees look like they did in 44 and 45, we could get a better idea.
This is
That's
awesome.
it. Yeah.
That's where you could tell that that's where Foxhole Norman led the assault out of, and then Spears had to come save the day. They did a really good job replicating it. The open woods, open field right outside the town. That's just from a cinematic standpoint, that's a really good job from the development team. Like it's a game from Tom Hanks to Spielberg. Excellent, excellent job. It's probably got to be surreal for them. Oh my goodness.
This is definitely the area. This is definitely.
There's the town right there.
Well, there's the town of Foy right
Yeah.
over there after the empty field where those cattle are grazing.
Could you imagine running across that with snipers and MGs and mortars raining down, and your platoon leader is and your company commander is falling apart? Thank God Spears was there and took command of that situation. That would have been a bad day. It almost was a bad day.
This is definitely. Well, there's the town of Foy right over there after the empty field where those cattle are grazing.
About a half a mile away to be.
Yeah, we had
Longest
an
half mile of your
outpost
life.
set up, looking right into the town of Foy, and they had to watch everything going on because we'd come in here and go to sleep. We
Mhm.
had our foxholes right over here, and the other area, wherever we had to move out and dig
This is
in
so
again.
cool.
Of course, the Krauts had plenty of artillery.
Yep. Pre-plots.
Most intense I went through right here. Shelling. Most intense in the world. You couldn't believe it. You had to be here. You just dove in the hole and just pray. That's it. If it comes in, you ain't going to know it.
You ain't going to know
We lost Muck and Pentella
Yep.
over on this side. They were killed instantly. Direct hit, 88.
Direct hit right in the hole. Just made mincemeat out of them.
Just
George
bad luck.
Lodge come over and he hollered, I can't see nothing of them. There's nothing there. They were all gone, just disintegrated. Unmerciful shelling, really. Everything I think was shredded. Yeah, shredded.
Right.
And look, nature replaced it instantly. It's like it was never there.
Such an odd feeling. To me, it brings a lot of memories. The memories of the men, the times, good and bad. A lot of memories.
Come on, be thankful, y'all. Please. There's not a lot of them left. The week before Christmas 44, Easy was sent to hold the perimeter of Bastogne.
It was the most miserable place I've ever been in my life. Even today. On a real cold night, we go to bed and my wife will tell you that the first thing I'll say is, I'm glad I'm not in Bastogne.
The Germans wanted to get Bastogne because of the road network. That's why it was such an objective. So that's where we had to hold, which we did.
318 trucks come in around noontime, and by that evening, everybody was loaded and moving out.
We were short of equipment. We didn't have enough ammunition. We didn't have enough warm clothes. But we had confidence that our higher military authorities would get to us whatever we needed. That when we got up there, we didn't know what we were getting into. There was very little information, only that the Germans had broken through.
We went down, loaded on the trucks, and another truck came by with weapons, and they pitch weapons up to the truck, and you catch a weapon, that's what you got until you got to Bastogne.
As it worked out, there's some men actually got on the trucks and left for Bastogne and didn't have a rifle.
That'd be insane, man.
When we got there, we saw men singly and in twos and threes working their way back, some of them even without weapons, without equipment. Some of them were terrified.
They were beat to a nub, and every one of them were telling us, you know, they're going to kill everybody. They're running over everybody.
They couldn't believe when they saw us up there that we intended to set up defensive lines and to stop the Germans.
Crazy.
They said they couldn't be stopped.
We went out of town, we started taking up their weapons and their ammunition.
Asking the guys that's retreating, you got any extra ammunition or hand grenades you don't want?
Socks?
Oh, yeah, you could hear the firing going on up there.
Minimum.
We're marching towards it with hardly any ammunition.
We marched through the night and went up to the forward side of Bastogne and dug in, and then it snowed.
Snow, cold up to your rump. We didn't have no winter clothing or nothing. And that's where a third of the doggone casualties was either frostbite or trench foot or whatever you want to call it.
Bad move. A lot of snow. A lot of everything you didn't like. Ooh, cold place.
At this particular time, we was on top of a kind of a hill, and top of the hill had pine trees. And we set up our positions around the fringe of the woods.
In Belgium, the trees are planted. They don't grow like they do in Maine. They're rows of trees.
Mm-hmm. You can see
look
through
down a
them.
row and you can see a half a mile.
Yep.
And there was on top of this hill, there was a ridge with a tree line. We were dug in on that ridge. Germans knew right where we were, and they really gave us a shellacking.
Shellacking. What a verb. Verb of the week, shellac.
To infantrymen in wartime, the Mother Earth is your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And you can always dig a hole and get out of sight, you know. We dug plenty of those. Yeah.
He's going back. Yep.
You'd be surprised how quick you can get through that hard ground when somebody's shooting at you and them
Mhm.
shells are falling.
You get as
Now,
low
can
as a
make fast
worm.
work of it. We just have to dig that hole.
Well, we say we became experts on foreign European soil. We dug in, and two people could dig a better hole than one.
And the ground is frozen, it takes quite a while. You just chip it out. And by the time you get it done, they whistle for you we're moving out.
That
And you
happens
go
today, too.
someplace else and dig another one.
As soon as you get comfy.
Now, you must understand, we were surrounded. The Germans were about maybe 100 yards away from us.
It's crazy.
No matter where you looked around the circle, you could see artillery flashes. So we knew from that we were surrounded.
But we went through a couple of shellings.
A couple.
Bastogne that were earth-shaking. If you lived through them, you remember them for the rest of your life. And I'm not sure you're the same for the rest of your life after you live through them.
Most people, unless you live in like an earthquake-intensive environment, will never be near an explosion big enough to make the earth shake. It's something. It's deeper in your human psyche than what you're expecting. This thing should not be moving, and now it's moving with me on top of it, just trying to survive. Feeling the earth shake is awesome in the scary way, as in it causes awe. It's insane.
Shaking. If you live through them, you remember them for the rest of your life. And I'm not sure you're the same for the rest of your life after you live through them. You never forget them.
Luckily, all mine was
There
outgoing.
was one moment there that I remember vividly. I'll never forget it. One of the guys got hit in the arm with a piece of shrapnel, took his arm off above the elbow. And they were taking him out. He said, "Get my wristwatch off my arm." And 40 took him out. That always stayed with me. I mean, a calm voice and everything, get my wristwatch off my arm.
On the 3rd of January, we withdrew back to our former positions there up the hill from Foy. And when we got there, we could see that the Germans had zeroed in artillery there. Because trees were knocked down, branches were knocked out of trees, there were holes in the ground.
It was right at dusk, and the Germans had this, this woods of ours zeroed in completely, and as we hit the woods, why this tremendous artillery attack came.
Damn. They're just feeding those guns. You see that?
We were, and they started shooting point-blank 88s into our area.
They were letting
Muzzle
us have
action 88's crazy.
Everything. From the kitchen sink mortars, Erfelwaffers, that's a rocket thing that's a screaming sound.
It scared the hell. I mean, I was scared, but I think I was petrified then. I thought the whole world was shooting at us at once.
I jumped into a foxhole that somebody had started and then hadn't finished.
I remember this scene.
So I was crouched down in that foxhole, but it wouldn't hold all of me, so from about my nose up was above the ground. I could see all these shells hitting.
Sergeant Garnier lost a leg, and Joe Toy lost a leg in the same place right there on one hill. I remember.
That's a true battle, buddy.
This certain instance,
Joe got caught not near his hole, and Bill and I were ahead of him, and Bill had not been hit, and he came up out of his hole quickly, and we were still under heavy fire.
Joe said, "Jesus Christ, what do I have to do to die?" He got hit real bad, the back and the leg. And he's out there and called a medic, and he can't find a medic. I went out to see what I could do for him. Bongo, I got it too.
Bongo.
I went over to Garnier. He was sitting on the ground. His leg was badly mangled. He was holding his leg, and it was jerking like that.
Yeah. Cold.
And he said, "Lip, they got old Garnier this time." He had been hit before, but they really got him there.
We got him out of there, like Babe Heffron and I and some others, and they brought a Jeep down, and we put him on stretchers, and I better not talk about it. Yeah, better not talk about it.
Do not ever pry. If they don't want to talk about it, that's their decision. You can ask one time, and if they say no, that's the end of the conversation. Please do not pry, because that's you're liable to get punched in the mouth by some of these dudes.
I better not talk about it. Yeah, better not talk about it. They're terrible.
And that's why I'm trying to present a more vulnerable side of a soldier, right? Because I want people to be okay with talking about it. Malarkey's from a time when you didn't talk about that stuff. You bottled that up, you carried it with you, and then you died, which is unfortunate because we need to hear their stories. And Band of Brothers coming out was probably one of the first tellings of a whole unit sharing their feelings about something. And you can still see, even during a documentary, he doesn't want to talk about how he truly felt. And that's perfectly fine. That's his right to do. It's his experience. He decides if he gets to share it with us. And I really hope that as time progresses, people become more okay with talking about these things, because the more they can tell us, the more we can learn to prevent things like that from happening again. But please don't pry. Do not pry. That's not our place to pry. It's our place to listen.
I better not talk about it. Yeah, better not talk about it. They're terrible.
We had lost some very good men there. Toy and Garnier had lost their legs there. A number of other people were killed. It was a difficult situation there.
When a man was wounded, we felt glad for them. We felt happy for them.
Yeah.
He had a ticket to get out of there, and maybe a ticket to go home. And when we had a man who was killed, we found that he was at peace.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked so peaceful.
You know they're going to show that.
We're glad that he found peace.
Ooh, man. I didn't know they were going to show that. Damn.
Assistant squad leader named Mallet. He was from New York City. And I overheard him talking one time. This was in Bastogne. He says, I've been through Normandy and went through Holland. And to this day, he says, I haven't got one scratch. He says, I'm afraid when I do get it, I'm really going to get it. And he was right.
Damn.
In this little town of Foy, he got killed.
Damn.
So I don't think he had any premonition of it. He just wondered about it, you know. But I never did wonder. Never give it much thought.
Don't let your mind go to that place.
You just live from day to day. Keep your fingers crossed, and that was it.
If you're going through, I've used this in the military, but it applies to everything. If you're going through a tough time where the end is far away, how I've told my soldiers to handle it in the past, don't worry about a week from now. Don't worry about a month from now. You can worry about the future in small increments. So whenever you're at like an extended field problem, you're deployed, whatever, just ask, what are we doing tomorrow? Get prepared for tomorrow. And then the next day, what are we doing tomorrow? Get prepared for tomorrow. And eventually the answer to what are we doing tomorrow is going home. Because once if you allow yourself to start prospecting in the future, you're going to start getting worried. And then that's when the mind starts going to the dark place. So center yourself, stay focused on the task at hand, and try not to let those demons eat at you. They're going to get in. You got to fight them off.
You just live from day to day.
Yep.
Keep your fingers crossed, and that was it.
101st Airborne Division held Bastogne, suffering massive casualties. Easy Company lost 15 men. Passing review in this weather is crazy.
I have the honor to present the Supreme Commander, General Eisenhower.
Oh, Ike. We like Ike, remember that. March 15, 1945, Montmelon, France.
Great personal honor for me to be here
the
today,
battle streamer. That's cool.
to take part in a ceremony that is unique in American history. Never before has a full division been cited by the War Department in the name of the President for
First
gallantry
time.
in action.
That's crazy. A whole division.
This day marks the beginning of a new tradition in the American Army.
That's thousands of troops, by the way.
With that tradition, therefore, will always be associated the name of the 101st Airborne Division and of Bastogne. Good luck and God be with each of you.
By April 1945, the Allies had pushed the German army across the Rhine, and Easy Company moved into Germany.
The Germans had started to surrender. They still had their arms. But as you're going down the Autobahn, there was almost a solid line of German troops coming north. And our job is to get to the end and get to the heart of it.
Berchtesgaden, Eagle's Nest.
Berchtesgaden, that's the end of the line. It's the retreat that Hitler had for himself. And he built his Eagle's Nest, his penthouse, on top of the Alp to, I'm sure, relax and confer with his staff because they all followed him to Berchtesgaden. This was their final retreat. And of course, this is where they had their loot as well.
Mm-hmm.
This was the goal of the French who were on our right flank. This was the goal of the British and
Montgomery.
This is a place to capture. This is the one everybody wanted.
Hitler's Berchtesgaden retreat, burned by SS troops in the war's last days. The chalet from which he hoped to rule the world now lies in ruin. American Air Force's pictures show the huge gutted rooms and the great window through which the Fuhrer gazed out on the Alps.
We took Berchtesgaden May the 5th, and no fighting, no shooting. The only thing I seen at Berchtesgaden was a couple dead black uniform SS troopers laying on the road as we were going up.
It was a beautiful country. He knew how to pick out a good spot for a house.
Give him that, I guess.
Took over his house and liberated it, you might say.
There was obviously a loot of all kinds that the men were looking for, such as guns. There was money that they were looting.
I was a pack rat anyway. I picked up a lot of German items, including some postcards and envelopes that were addressed to Hitler.
Come find out, that place was full of this big art, you know, Rembrandt and all those people, you know, and hanging on the wall, you know, of course, the old
just hanging out.
soldiers like us, we don't recognize a painting when we see it.
The 101st Airborne Division
Oh, they're walking
uncovers
them out.
Hermann Goering's personal art collection, hidden in a subterranean chamber.
That's crazy.
1,200 artworks worth untold millions are included. The treasures will go back to rightful owners in pillaged nations.
That's actually
We
a
found
pretty fun fact.
A warehouse full of gin and vodka and stuff like that. It wasn't
Game
much
over.
whiskey. Those people don't like whiskey. And we took it all and set up a bar.
Had 7 truckloads of champagne and cognac out of the wine cellars out of the Eagle's Nest.
Yeah.
So we stayed pretty well oiled for a while.
Oh, that champagne was
well oiled.
good.
Oh, man.
I started drinking it one day, and I drank it till about midnight that night. I went to the barracks, went to sleep. I didn't wake up the next day.
Tired, dead tired.
Made a 2-day thing out of it. And it didn't taste like it would hurt you. It tastes like ginger ale.
That was the only time that I can ever remember that when I was in service that the whole company fell out in their underwear. We didn't even have to dress, you know, 'cause everybody was pretty well looped, and so
That's
we
funny.
just fell out in line formation in our underwear.
They're enjoying themselves. They're at peace with the world. They have a big, happy, satisfied grin on their face. It was a paradise for a soldier to move into.
Look at that, man.
I had
Kick
no
your feet
problem
up.
with looting because of the fact that I had come down through Germany
They did all that.
and I had seen the Holocaust.
Yep.
And I had seen what the Germans had done to the Jewish race, and I'd seen what they had done to the displaced persons, and what they had done in their occupation of France, and what they had done to their occupation in Holland, Belgium. So that by taking over their homes for a few nights,
run it
to bed down my men, and if they picked up a few trinkets, I had no problem.
Yep. Germany formally surrendered on May 8th, 1945.
Nobody has ever taken the time to tell you how to handle a surrender.
Yep.
Jeez. We'll talk about that when we get there. Well, here we are. We got it. Now, how do you handle this?
See? What are we doing tomorrow? What are we doing tomorrow? Now the answer is, oh, we're accepting the German surrender. Figure it out. That's a good answer, but now you weren't ready for it. But you'd rather be not ready for going home than ready for hell. And Zell am See Austria Easy Company helped secure the surrender of 25,000 German troops.
It was a well-disciplined army. And those prisoners that come down out of the Alps, they came down in formation. They marched down. They didn't drag down, or nothing like that. They came down as defeated soldiers.
That requires a lot of discipline.
I think we thought that the Germans were probably the evilest people in the world. But as the war went along, we found out also that it wasn't the Germans per se. It was the SS and the special troops. They were the ones that could kill their own people, and the regular German soldier was not that way.
One of those prisoners handed me this little book I could have, and I looked at it, and it was a little Catholic prayer book for the Mass. And all of a sudden, I'm faced with the thing, hey, I haven't got Nazis here. I got some Catholics.
O'Keefe.
And I've got a Catholic good enough to stick one of these in his pocket.
A lot of those soldiers, I've thought about this often. That man and I might have been good friends. We might have had a lot in common. We might have liked to fish, he might have liked to hunt. You never know, Of course, they were doing what they were supposed to do, and I was trying to do what I was supposed to do. But under different circumstances, we might have been good friends.
I have a great deal of respect for them as soldiers. They were very good soldiers. But they're still enemy.
Mm-hmm.
So they must be controlled as prisoners. When it reached the level of surrender for company and smaller units, I was assigned this major. And when he walked in, he presented me this pistol.
Is that a PPK?
And offered his personal surrender, which naturally I accepted gratefully. So that would be the end of the war for his men, and this is basically the end of the war for my men.
Put down the
And
hatchet.
the significance is that it wasn't until later, when he had given me this pistol and I had a chance to look at it carefully, that I realized this pistol had never been fired. There was no blood on it. That's the way all wars should end, with an agreement with no blood on it. And I assure you, this pistol has never been fired since I've had it, and it will not be fired.
November 30th, 1945, the 101st Airborne Division was inactivated from duty. Easy Company no longer existed.
We didn't come home and flout ourselves. I didn't come home and, I was a war hero or anything. I just come home and went back to like we did before we went. Just go to work and live our life.
I think it was difficult for most fellas coming back. They didn't know what they were going to do when they got out. I didn't, had no idea.
Went to work for a coal company.
Did some bartending and ran a pool hall.
Took up a course in ornamental horticulture. It didn't pay very much, but there were a lot of nice people.
Ornamental horticulture, that's dope.
I went to work where I was working before the war. It was Caterpillar Tractor Company.
I became an industrial arts teacher and a social studies teacher. The spring of '46, I took a boat to Ketchikan, Alaska.
I went to work for the government, a letter carrier for 37 years.
I built homes. I went into construction. I went into hard work.
With no leg.
Tedious work. I done everything. You name it, I done it.
I ended up working on the waterfront.
And I went with the CIA in Washington.
Got my degree in 1948.
After the war, I became a teacher and taught for almost 30 years.
Got a job working for Nixon Nitration Works. I was making $75 a week.
We've never become wealthy in life, but we have a lot of other wealth that means more than that, really.
Family, friends.
Everyone done well. I done well too. Thank God.
Since 1946, the Men of Easy Company, their families have gathered together for annual reunions.
Each and every one of you to our banquet tonight to celebrate the ending of a fine reunion. Thank you all for coming. And I want to extend the best
all these
wishes to all the
families.
men from Company E506. I love you. God bless you all. Thank you.
The purpose the reunions serve is just to give us a chance to get together and talk to each other. We relive some of the Army experiences, but we have great respect and you might say affection for each other. The type of affection that you get when you've lived through many dangerous situations together.
Look at them all
And have
there.
learned that you can rely on each other.
If you see the people today, that bond's still there. The bond you can't explain. As soon as you see them, you know you're thinking of battles and thinking of it to yourself. The men
Look at
stand
these
out
old
amongst
guys.
each other.
There's an intimacy develops, and like nothing that I've ever experienced anywhere, not in college, not in with any other group of people.
We're a strange bunch of dudes, as far as I'm concerned.
Strange bunch of
to be this
dudes.
close after all these years. That's the thing that gets me. Is I like brothers.
I'm back in my youth now. When I get to these guys, I'm back when I went to service. It's fantastic. I'd like to make 20 more reunions.
Hell yeah. I hope we
had
did.
a lot of real good times in there. And those are the times that you really remember, you know. That's a lot of those is what we're kidding each other about, you know, at these reunions a lot of times. And then you had a lot of bad times. My family didn't know anything about it. And just didn't tell them. I just, you know.
Kept to yourself.
Figured it's something that didn't need talking about. It was done, over with.
We didn't know Shifty the way the men know Shifty.
These his kids?
So, but he started talking about it just in the last 5 or 6 years. Last 5, I'd say. It was like that was another life, you know, as he was another person, and we weren't aware that the stuff he went through, things he'd seen.
Yeah, your dad was a badass.
You know, it didn't even dawn on me that he'd killed people.
I really admire my daddy.
That's awesome.
He's a good guy. He's a real strong guy. We travel a lot, and we've been to France and to that cemetery. It's just incredible. There's crosses upon crosses upon crosses, and just lined up perfectly as far as the eye can see. And then there's a cliff, you know, and then the ocean.
These weren't just anonymous statistics. These were people that I knew, and I told my daughter, I said, this guy here died at age 19 or 20. A whole life, never lived. No family, nothing. No children, no opportunity to have some satisfaction of building a life, nothing.
When I went there, I said, Dad, my gosh, Dad, you were so lucky. And he looked at me and he said, yeah, I'm very lucky, and he started crying.
These guys have been with each other in the absolute base experiences of human existence. They were there with each other, knowing you're going to die, or thinking you're going to die, or seeing people dying all around you. And there they went, day after day, and I admire that. It held my father even on his tombstone as Sergeant Joe Toy.
Nice.
506 PIR, 101st Airborne Division. That's what he wanted on his tombstone. It meant that much to him.
I don't know if y'all noticed in the finale episode. Yes, I am sad that these heroes have passed away, but I'm incredibly happy that they got to live long lives. That's why I'm smiling during this. It was worth it. And they got to come home and reap the benefits of that sacrifice that they made and the men underneath those crosses made. So I'm celebrating their lives instead of mourning their deaths, if that makes any sense, because they deserved to have big families and to go to as many reunions as possible. And unfortunately, they did have to deal with the darkness, but the families are what brings back the light. And you could tell Joe Toy's son understood how much that meant to him. He's getting it put on his tombstone.
How it happened that those various individuals happened to end up in E Company, I don't know. But as you know, every Army unit thinks it's the best. But we knew we were the best.
First team.
Think about your God more than anything else. Think about most of them every day. Something is etched in your memory, I guess. He'll never leave either.
Am I a little proud of having once served in that outfit? You bet your life. I wore that eagle on my right shoulder for 18 years.
There
Probably
you go.
The proudest thing of my whole life, having been in Easy Company 506.
The heroes have crosses over their heads, the ones that are buried in the cemeteries. Those are the true heroes, not us. We're just part of the work, that's all. And we thank God we got back alive, that's all.
How would you like to be a mother or a father whose son never come back?
Nope.
The son and the mother and father are the heroes of the Second World War.
I also agree with that. That has to be so hard.
Let me say this. I don't believe there's very, very, very few heroes that came back from the war. They're still over there.
That was...
Do you remember the letter that Mike Ranney wrote me?
Dang it, this makes me cry
Do you
too.
remember how he ended it?
I remember this part.
I cherish the memories of a question my grandson asked me the other day when he said, "Grandpa, were you a hero in the war?" Grandpa said no. But I served in a company of heroes.
I'm not sad, I promise. It's just the heartache sometimes. Yelled in action. Easy Company, 506th Parachute Infantry Regiment, 101st Airborne Division. Robert Blozier, James Campbell, Herman Collins, James Deal, William Dukeman, George Elliott, William Evans, Everett Gray, Terrence Harris, Harold Hayes, A.P. Heron, Donald Hubler, Richard Hughes, Eugene Jackson, John Janovich, Joseph Jordan, John Julian, William Keene, Robert Matthews, William McGonigal, Thomas Meehan, Francis Millette, Vernon Menz, William Metzler, James Miller, John Miller, William Miller, Sergio Moya, Warren Muck, Elmer Murray, Patrick Neal, Ernest Oates, Francis O'Brien, Richard Owen, Alex Pencala, Murray Roberts, Carl Riggs, Carl Sawasco, Raymond Schmitz, John Schindel, Gerald Snyder, Benjamin Stoney, Elmer Telsted, Robert Klinken, Thomas Warren, Harold Webb, Kenneth Webb, Jerry Wenzel, Ralph Weimer. They at least deserve to have their names read.
Joe Toy, oh, there was a big Mick.
Big Mick.
And we used to have a few beers at night, and I'd sing. And Garnier would try to come over and sing. He'd say to Garnier, Garnier, you're Italian. You don't know this song. Garnier could sing it better than he did. Bridget O'Flynn.
How's it go?
Oh.
Is he going to sing for us?
Bridget O'Flynn, Bridget O'Flynn, where have you been? Sure, it's a fine time for you to come in. You went to see the big parade me I. Sure, the big parade I never took so long in passing by. Look at your shoes, ain't it a sin, Bridget O'Flynn?
He's a good singer.
Sure, your story and your shoes are mighty thin. If you know anyone that
awesome.
owns a canoe,
This is awesome.
I'm telling you, Bridget, just what to do. Stay away from the water, Bridget, darling.
Excellent. Excellent from Babe. You're going to Hollywood. Oh my goodness. Needed that. Great way to bounce back the ending from Winters reading that letter. That was awesome. I'm going to go look up the song now.
Now that's the song Toy like. Oh, that's what we sang.
60 years later, he remembers every word to his buddy's song. You can't fake that, man. That's awesome.
You only needed a sissel of beer. 2 beers, you were drunk. Because you were in great physical condition, you were too peaked.
Your tolerance
and
low.
2 beers, you were high as Georgia Pine. You know.
That was an amazing ending. All right, y'all. That was an excellent way to tie it all up, put a happy little bow on Band of Brothers. Yeah, I really appreciate everyone who stuck with me through this whole series. I'm glad we actually got to see some of these men grow up, have families. We got to meet some of their children, some grandchildren. It looked like there was young, middle-aged, elderly people. All of those were in unions. And unfortunately, a lot, if not most, of our World War II veterans are going. We gotta get their stories while we can. I'm eternally grateful for Tom Hanks and Spielberg and Stephen Ambrose for getting these stories out when they could. So now it's immortalized forever. So we can always look back and learn from these guys. Till the end of time, we'll be able to look back on the lessons taught by the men of Easy Company, 506 Parachute Infantry Regiment, and the 101st Airborne Division. I thank you all for your time. I thank you all for sticking around and believing in me. And I hope you all have an excellent day. Y'all take care.